Most problems on the pottery wheel actually start right here. If the clay isn't prepared properly, you'll be fighting it for the rest of the throwing process. Preparing the clay is done on what's called a wedging table. An untreated wooden surface works best because the clay doesn't stick as much. If you're looking for a table like this, I'll put a product link in the video description. The table should be placed against a wall so it can't slide away. My washing machine works too. It just happens to be here in the workshop. Conveniently, this table has a lower shelf. That's where I keep my prepared lumps of clay while I'm throwing, so they're always within easy reach. Wedging or preparing the clay is an essential part of throwing. You really can't skip it. Clay straight from the bag is never completely homogeneous. It's usually wetter on the outside and firmer in the middle. If it's been sitting around for a while, it can be exactly the other way around. Every inconsistency affects the throwing process immediately. That's why you need to work the clay thoroughly beforehand to get the best possible results. I use what's called ram's head wedging. You push the clay away from you, folding the top down, then bring it back up, reposition your hands and push again. You repeat this in a steady rhythm. Be careful not to press your fingers too hard into the back of the clay, or you'll trap air inside. This is what the ram's head shape looks like. It's important to keep enough pressure on both sides. Otherwise, you'll end up with a wide roll instead. You'll notice while wedging that the clay becomes smoother and more workable. And it really doesn't take long. In the end, the motion naturally leaves you with a roll of clay. With one movement that I honestly can't explain, you can make it thinner. Learning that takes longer than learning pottery itself, believe me. But if you can't do it yet, just roll it with your hands. That's exactly what I did when I started. Just keep rolling it until it reaches the diameter you want, and then pinch off your portions for throwing. As you can see, the clay has a visible grain. Imagine it like the spiral inside a snail shell. And make sure you never slap the clay onto the wheel with this side facing down. Otherwise, you're likely to end up with what's called an S-crack in the base. That's a crack in the bottom of the pot that has the shape of an S. Here's another way to make your clay homogeneous. It's probably easier for beginners. I simply pat the clay into a nice smooth rounded shape, then cut it in half with a cut-off wire or over the edge of the table. Now I stack the two smooth faces together and repeat the process over and over again. At this point, you have 2 layers of clay. Then the number of layers doubles each time: 4, 8, 16, 32, and so on. You can imagine how this continues. Once you have a couple of thousand layers, it's easy to see that the clay is thoroughly mixed. In the end, though, you'll still need to use ram's head wedging to prepare that block of clay for throwing. Here's ram's head wedging again from another angle. As I said before, never press your fingers too deeply into the back of the clay or you'll wedge air into it. I hope this works for you. Practice makes perfect. And here's the table I mentioned earlier. It's actually designed for kitchen use, so I'm using it for something completely different. But before spending a lot of time building your own, this one has proven itself. Of course you can work without it, but I can definitely recommend it.